And I'm not suggesting that you had personal knowledge, but what reports have you received in relation to what DJ Somebody did wrong that got him murdered?
I would not comment on the DJ Somebody's murder. Here, it was on this basis of the picture that I sent to Mr. Lekukela, and then I've uttered these words.
You see, when you sent, why didn't you call him to order? Were you not suggesting that if Mr. Lekukela had called DJ Somebody to order, had told DJ Somebody to stop doing what he was doing, DJ Somebody may still be alive? Isn't that what your message was saying?
No, and commissioners, I will not appreciate when you associate me with knowing what was or what happened with DJ Somebody or what might be the cause. Based on what I've wrote here, why didn't you call him to order? It had nothing to do with anything.
Well, what did you mean by saying, why didn't you call him to order?
As I said, that I can recall clearly what was the conversation all about.
Well, look at it now. Why would you say, well, let me take a step back. Were DJ Somebody and Mr. Lekukela friends?
That's correct.
Why would you say to the friend of a man who has just been murdered, why didn't you call him to order?
Maybe in case it is helpful, you might also want to see the next chat. Look at the next chat where he answers and he says, I didn't know.
Yes, I've answered it, Commissioner, that I don't know how did it come, because of what I'm saying, why didn't you call him into order? Then he said, I didn't know. I didn't know really. Even now, I can't remember what was that.
Come on now, Sergeant. Don't play games with us. You say in response to Mr. Shaskalsin, your text, why didn't you call him to order, could not have had anything to do with what Mr. Shaskalsin was suggesting to you. But at the same time, you say you do not remember what it related to. That doesn't make sense to me. How can you be sure that it definitely had nothing to do with what Mr. Shaskalsin is suggesting to you, if you don't even remember what it was about, what the text was about? If you don't remember, you don't remember. And then even what Mr. Shaskalsin is saying may well be a possibility.
Can I respond to that?
Yes, please.
Commissioners, I've answered to the best of my ability.
You are lying. That's the problem. The problem is that you are lying to us. You are lying to us, Sergeant Kosi.
Sergeant Fanny Nkosi and Gareth Mnisi, the Chief Financial Officer of the City of Tshwane, have come under intense scrutiny after testimony revealed their alleged involvement in efforts to secure a government tender tied to a municipality that does not exist. Appearing before the Matlang Commission, Nkosi attempted to justify why Mnisi had been assisting his brother with the tender documentation. According to Nkosi, the paperwork related to a bid in the so-called Mediphosa municipality in Mpumalanga. Appearing before the Matlang Commission on Thursday, Nkosi attempted to justify why Mnisi had been assisting his brother with the tender documentation. According to Nkosi, the paperwork related to a bid in the so-called Mediphosa municipality in Mpumalanga. However, the explanation quickly unraveled. No such municipality exists in South Africa. Rather than clearing the air, Nkwasi's testimony raised further questions about the nature of his relationship with Mnisi and their conduct around the lucrative security tender within Tshwane. Evidence presented to the Commission, including WhatsApp exchanges, suggest ongoing communication between the two men, with discussions focused on positioning Nkwasi's brother's company, Capescia to secure the contract. The company, however, reportedly failed to meet at least 12 mandatory bid requirements. Despite this, Mnisi allegedly continued advising Nkosi even after the submission deadline had passed, guidance that could have enabled the company to retroactively meet compliance standards. When pressed on this timeline, Nkosi maintained that the assistance was unrelated to Tshwane tender and instead linked to the mysterious Mpumalanga bid, and said this project was merely meant for the Mpumalanga Matthew Phosa municipality. The claim drew skepticism. Matthew Phosa, a prominent anti-apartheid figure and senior ANC leader, has no municipality named after him, further casting doubt on Nkosi's version of events. The Commission has since requested proof that any such tender application existed. To date, none has been provided. Beyond the questionable paperwork, the inquiry has also turned its attention to the personal relationship between Nkosi and Mnisi. The two men are described as close associates who share interests outside of work, including shooting, travel, and a passion for cars and motorbikes. Nkosi admitted during the testimony that he had directly approached Mnisi for assistance in advancing his brother's business interest, and said, "I asked him to check what the problem is," referring to the company's unsuccessful bids. But the Commission's evidence leader, Matthew Chaskalson, presented a far more serious interpretation that Nkosi and Mnisi may have colluded to secure a government tender for a company that did not meet the required standards. As the inquiry continues, the case is shaping into a troubling example of alleged influence, blurred professional boundaries, and potential abuse of public office. The Gauteng Corp, Sergeant Fani Nkosi, has also been reprimanded at the Madlang Commission over his repeated refusal to answer questions. Nkosi has been on the witness stand for 6 days, and during that time, he has consistently refused to comment on some issues or claimed that he cannot remember key details. On Friday, Nkosi was asked about a confidential tender document he allegedly sent to a taxi boss, Mabani. Nkosi said the document was no longer confidential as the tender has been cancelled when he sent it. However, documents before the Commission clearly show the tender was cancelled a few months after Nkosi sent it. Co-Commissioner Sisi Baloyi said she has not been pleased with Nkosi's performance on the witness stand and said, "You are being obstructive and not helping the Commission. That's the position you have taken, and I think you need to be reminded that your obligation to the Commission is to assist and give satisfactory answers. You are not answering satisfactory when facts are put to you that you are not disputing, and you say, I cannot comment."